Now we are going to design a test paper that is based on all of the rubrics that are necessary to be in elaborating a correct test paper assessment. So we are going to take into consideration everything that was said in the previous session. So let us begin with saying what is this? And because in our school we have to present it in Romanian language, I'm going to design it just at the beginning in Romanian language, so that the principal of the school knows what we are going to, or what it is going to be stamped. So each of us has different requirements for these tasks. So and of course writing depends again. What is necessary to be, of course you have to write when, so that it is very clear what is going to be tested. So I should also write here according to the requirements that we have in our school. So, and of course having everything to look nice. Okay, and I will write the principal. Okay, maybe to look. Of course you design again according to everything that you are required to do. So next I'm going to write again here the information that is necessary. And again, so you can play here, maybe have it something in bold. It's just for you, it all depends on what you want or how do you want it to look, what other information you would like to have. Maybe I would do it in this way. Okay, so the first page would look like that in my school. So next what we are going to do is we are going to write. So the first thing that we said that should be mentioned is the purpose or the goal or the aim of the test. So let us already start working. Now everything is going to be in English. So the purpose of the thesis that we are going to work is to assess the reading and writing skills. You can say the reading and to assess students' reading and writing skills in English as a foreign language, in English as a foreign language learning process. So next would be the objectives. So the type of test is going to be a thesis or a summative test paper, because it is a more complex one. And we have there several objectives. So the first would be, because this is what we practice with my students, so the first one would be to assess the students' comprehension of conditionals and wish clauses grammar structures, to assess maybe without the article, not to make it more general, to assess students' knowledge of usage of adjectives, present and past participles as adjectives, to assess students' reading skills for specific tasks, and to assess students' skills on writing for a specific purpose. So these are my 4 objectives. Now what we are going to do is we are going to have the matrix of specification. So we go to the Excel task. So I'm going to have grammar. Next activity is going to be vocabulary work. Next, I'm going to have a reading task. And the last one would be writing, because the thesis is 1.5 hours, so I have to be really careful on what I'm going to do with my students. So I plan on about 8 items to have. So I would have about 20% would go to grammar from the whole test, which would have these 3 forms. Also for vocabulary. For reading, I would have 30 and 30 for writing. So it would be 100. So the same would go, I think, for this task. So this is what I'm going to have in the matrix of specification, and I'm going to introduce it here, and the matrix of specification is ready. Okay, so we have the objectives, the matrix of specification, and of course we have to see and the scale. So it is we have to go to the next and to see the scale. So I'm going to set it for 100, and this is what I'm going to also put here in the test. So this is what we are going to have. So this is what my students are going to be tested for. So this is a rough draft of what is going to happen with the test paper that my students are going to write. So now I'm ready to start writing the test paper. Okay, so we go to task 1, and of course we have to design, as it is a test paper, we have to design it for our students as well. So the first would, we said task 1 would be grammar. So task 2 would be vocabulary, and we're going to see how we write the items. So task 3 would be reading, and task 4 would be writing. So first we have to design to say that it is a thesis, and it is summer session of 2020. It is for 11th B form, and we need to have the name and the surname of the student. So you can have it in the middle. Again, it is your task. You can design it. I can write here. Points and grade. And we can begin. So my task would be first complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. But this one would be mostly maybe for the application, but for ground knowledge would be underline the correct verb form and for integration would be complete the sentences with the correct form of form of one of the verbs. So this is where students will have to integrate their knowledge. So the first one would be ground knowledge, where you have to underline because options will be given. You have to apply in order to supply the correct form of the verb, and the next you have to complete with the correct. So these would be my tasks for grammar. Now for vocabulary would have absolutely the same as I wanted them to be performed, but maybe instead of the underline the correct verb, you underline the correct adjective, because my task will be to assess the way they use the adjective. Now complete the sentences, complete the words in the sentences, and the last one will be complete the sentences with the correct form of the word, so past participle or present participle. So this would be for vocabulary. So this is how the test would look like. You have the thesis, the summer session, and task 1, underline the correct verb form. You have here also an example. We can have it in italics so that it is different, and the students have to, and of course in the brackets here you write how many points they get for each of the correct sentence choice. Now complete the sentence with the correct form of the verb in brackets again. So you have here 6 sentences and you have also 6 points. And here we have also sentence, but here we have also already for integration we have 8 points. So this is how it is supposed to be done, and we can have it in italics, all the examples, so that the students can see the difference. And of course maybe have it you have to complete. So here we have, you can say in bold, so that the students can see what their task is to do. Okay, so this was for grammar, and for vocabulary it is exactly the same. So you have here to complete, and yeah, so this is how it's going to be done, and here it's also in italics. So this is how the grammar and vocabulary look like. So you have here ground knowledge, you have here application and integration, ground knowledge, application and integration. So in this way I have everything that I need to do with my students. Next we're going to go to reading, and now it is a very important thing is to actually find the appropriate text for our students to read and to find it motivating, interesting, captivating, and easy to focus on. And here I have found the text. It is going to be survival stories, and we are going to have the text, and this is the length of it. We can look at it, and you can of course have different ones because the internet is full of text, but your task is to be really careful and to have the text not too difficult for the students, and at the same time to be interesting and connected to the topic. So according to this text I'm going to have some activities that are going to be according to our matrix of specification. So the first activity that I'm going to have is it is going to be answer the questions. Number 2 would be find in the text the synonyms and the antonyms for the words, and they're going to be the words. Then write true or false and justify your option. And the last one is going to be, so the first answer the question, it is ground knowledge. Number 2 and 3 are going to be for application, and number 3 is going to be the most difficult one. It is going to be the fact that what we are working with my students, they're going to read the article again, and there are going to be 5 sentences that are removed, and which sentence from A to F fits each gap from 1 to 5, and 1 sentence should not be used. So their task is to complete this one, so where the sentences go. So this we do all the time in my classroom. We work a lot with this kind of text, so for them it is not going to be a difficult activity to complete. So answer the questions. We can have the following questions that are going to be not that difficult, because this is you, and you have to remember again and again that this is ground knowledge. So what did Lynn find herself battling against? And leave my students with some space to write, and of course give some points. I'm going to give 2 points for this one. Next question would be what happened to Marco Contadino? And all of this, again, we have all of the answers we have directly in the text. And if the student reads, okay. And the last question, and we're going to have one more question. But we have to, again, so designing the test is important. So first we had answer the questions. Now we have question number 3. Maybe we should do this a little bit here. So designing the test also takes a little bit of time. So, and question number 3, it is going to be, why couldn't Lynn eat? So in the text you have the answer to that as well. So all of this we're going to get 2 points. And we give the students the space, just like at the baccalaureate exam. So their task is to find, and they're not penalized if they have any spelling or grammar mistakes here. Now let's go to so this is already number 2. So find the synonyms for, and we are going to, according to the text, so we have hurtful and complex, and in the text we have for hurtful we have the synonym painful, and for complex we have complicated. So some vocabulary work for students. And next would be to find the antonyms. Find the antonyms. And the words are going to be simply, and we have the antonym of miraculously, and the joy, which we have the word depression. So when these are, and I can have them here in 2 columns. And if I have them in 2 columns, it is easy for me to have them already. Okay, so let's give them also points. And I have 2 points each. Okay, maybe you can have more space. In case the students write differently. If columns are not possible to be made. So next we have to write the true or false sentences, and again the students it's really important for them to know that if they don't circle anything or if they don't say, they don't get the points at all. So again, according to the baccalaureate exam, so a true or false we have here, because there are 2 people here in the text. He started to dream about the death, because we spoke about survival. He would soon have to face, and it's a little bit different because the text is paraphrased. So we have here true/false, and the students have to circle, and also identify, so to say, also argument why, give the argument why. Okay, so next question we're going to have, so this one sentence would be true, and the next one, Lynn was awake for a long time, and in the text we have a sentence, this sentence being false, so the student will have to identify, and this is how true or false is going to work out. And here we have 6 points, and we can have 3 points each sentence for the argument and for identifying true or false. And the last one, integration. The students have to put the sentences to fit the sentences in each gap, so from 1 to 5. And the task is going to be to work again with the text. This is why, so for 1 hour and a half, this would be enough. The last task, it is task 4, it is writing. So the students have to write an article for your school magazine about the following topic. Again, this is what we practice during the lessons, and we don't only write essays, we also write articles, and this is going to be their task to complete this. So writing is going to be 30 points, and for say when and where, the students have 5 points. For describe what happened, the students have also 5 points, because we have to also give them points for grammar and for spelling. And you can also write here mind spelling, which for spelling we have 3 points. And here the students already know this, that if they have 3 mistakes, they lose 1 point. If they have 6 mistakes, they lose 2 points. If they have 9, 3 points. And if they have more, it's still 3 points. and then mind the spelling, the grammar, and grammar would be 4 points. Again, 3 mistakes, 1 point, and then they're demounted like this. We have the article structure, and this would be 1 point. Next, we're going to have the connection. So we have the connection between the paragraphs. You can say paragraph connection, to have it in a logical one, not to jump from one to another. And the connection, we also give the students 1 point. Next, we give 4 linkers, because I pay attention to a lot of linkers, and then have 2 points for linkers, and they know that it is 0.5 for 1 linker, so they need to use at least 4 linkers. And the number of words which the students have, and we have to count them. So how many we have here? 15, 23, 24, 27, and then you have, yes, 30 points. You have 3 points for the number of words. And again, so number of words, it's really important to have 140, but maybe I would write here 170 to 180 would be for 3 points. And then if they have less, every 20 words makes less 1 point. And you give them space to work. So everything is very clear, and say what and where the trip took place. This would be for the ground knowledge, because you say when and where. So for the students in the 11th grade, this is absolutely and ground knowledge. Describe what happened, and here we have to use some action verbs, and it is application, and explain how you felt. This is looking deeper into the topic, and this would be for integration. The students have to mind the spelling, the grammar, and this is how they get everything, and every single point is really structured and comprehensible for everything that they do. So this is how I write my own thesis. Now, if you have any ideas of last step, it is the scale of verification. It is the one where we give the appropriate answers, and they are really important to be given, because this is the way that you are definite and sure that everything is going to be said correctly into the test. So I'm going to have the scale of verification here, and you have the exercises that you can copy. I can do this in this way, so I need everything to be done. So this is for, then I will need the text to see, and the article, the writing part is already really explained to the students as well, so this is why we don't need them. Maybe we can just skip the writing part, because everything there is clear. We start from 1. Okay, so also here we can restart from 1. And we have here the reading part. So restart from 1. Or maybe I should mention here that it is the reading part. Okay, and now the possible answers for each of the task would be here. Now that the task is complete, so here we have the scale of verification, we have the grammar, underline the correct verb form, and we have the answers, completing here with the correct form and giving the correct form. We have for the adjectives, we have for the text answering, and we have here why, all of the questions being answered, and we have the points, also true or false, and the question. So for the writing, we have everything already given. So this is what happens with the test paper, so with the verification of skills. So this is the last point that we do when we have a thesis. So this is how the thesis looks like, and it has 9 pages. We save it for later, and this is what the students get in front of them in order to work. So thank you very much for the attention.